They're being put to the back of the line by women who are lying and saying things like, I'm being gaslit, abused, I'm being like all this kind of stuff. And that's why I have an issue with it. Like, we need to know what these words mean. If your man has set a boundary for you and that makes you upset, that doesn't mean he gaslit you. If he tells you from the day one, I am not interested in a committed relationship, and then later on you're like, that guy's a fucking narcissist because he didn't give me what I wanted. He's not a narcissist. He told you what he wanted.
Yeah. Just shows.
Again, I just don't think you guys understand how hard it is for a particular man to sleep with a particular woman. Like, it's really, I know even the best looking guy you've ever met in your life gets maybe 10% of the time would actually be like successful hooking up with someone. And I know from your standpoint, because you find him attractive, you think it's a 100% correlation. It just isn't. What women find, it's a great book on this. Again, drink again. David Buss and Sidney Mustin write a book. It's called Why Women Have Sex. And they go over 237 reasons why women find men attractive or why they have sex with them. The reasons why why women find men attractive is far greater, what we call negative kurtosis in statistics. The reason why you guys find men attractive is far greater than the reasons we find Selma Hayek attractive in Dusk Till Dawn, or the reasons why we find Margot Robbie attractive in Wolf of Wall Street.
I love Margot Robbie.
But again, you guys are like even men who are like, man, I like some thick old black women. They're going to look at Margot Robbie and be like, she is aesthetically, that is a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
Nobody doesn't think that.
Yeah.
Or again, when you look at Jessica Biel, like she, no one's like, man, she's not hot. No, but do you guys understand? So for men, it's positive kurtosis. It's just like this narrow range on the bell curve. For women, it's this tattoo sleeves over here, billionaire over here, really funny and short and loud over here. This guy likes to ride bicycles. This guy is fucking BMX. It's like this all this that goes on. I knew a dude he worked the stage at a nightclub here in Vegas. I won't say which one because everybody will figure out who he is. And all he did was pass out artist wristbands. All he did. He was the guy in charge of getting hot girls to go on stage when he passed out artist wristbands. And this guy slept with every model in the city just because he gave them access. That's all it was. He just gave them access. That was the only thing. I'm sure you guys have seen it before, like nightclub hosts or club promoters who do this. Just because they give you access. And they might not be the tallest or most good-looking guy in the world, but it still works for them. There's a million ways for guys to win. There's not a million ways for girls to win. There's like 4.
And that's why we named the show Access
Vegas. That's exactly right. Thank you.
Women are weird.
Waiter forgot our water. He's gaslighting us. That's what gaslighting is.
Yeah, no, that's gaslighting. That is abuse.
He's a narcissist. He can't hold space for us.
I'm literally a fucking empath. I hold space all the time.
I'm holding so much space all the time. Like right now, I'm holding the handicap space.
Like in the parking lot?
Yes, I'm holding it for me.
Not for someone with a handicap?
No, it's self-care.
Oh, if it's self-care, then no, you're fine.
I'm a hero.
I've actually been having a lot of intrusive thoughts lately.
That's traumatizing.
Like thoughts of like intruding on people's weddings I wasn't invited to. I'm feeling that for me.
I have that with funerals I wasn't invited to. What is that?
I think I'm gonna do it.
I don't think that's an intrusive thought. I think you're manifesting that.
No, it's me making a plan to intrude on purpose.
And you know what that is your boundary.
My boundary is I need to crash other people's weddings.
Have I told you I'm working on my body dysmorphia?
Oh my God, how?
I'm doing exposure therapy. Basically, I expose myself to people on the subway.
Oh, is that good? Does that work?
You know, it hasn't. It's actually just been triggering my ankle monitor because I can't leave the house.
Oh yeah, no, that's crossing a boundary that the state set for you on where you're legally allowed to be.
Yeah. Have you actually ever been to therapy?
No, God no. Have you?
No, that crosses a boundary for me.
Again, this is another issue. Like I don't have a degree in psychology, but I try to read like 40, 50, 60 books on the concept. And I try to have psychologists on my show, but I often get into conversations with women who also don't have degrees in psychology, explaining to me concepts like gaslighting and narcissism. Again,
everyone's a narcissist.
Again, I'm not going to do this to you guys, but sometimes we'll have 10 girls on the show and ask, how many of you guys have dated a narcissist? And everyone will raise their hand. And I point out that 4% of the population are narcissists. That's not possible. It's not. Now you're saying you were dating a narcissist. I believe you.
Loved it.
Yeah, for sure. But like I want
another one.
You're probably telling
I have never seen so much honesty on this podcast before. This is great.
The truth.
At least she embraces
No,
it.
listen, she's got that alimony truth, right?
Alimony truth.
That money. It's one of these things where it's like now all of a sudden there's this like new pop psychology thing where everyone the term toxic masculinity is another one. It's like, we'll just put these two words together and then we'll make a diagnosis about people. I'm dating a psychopath. I'm dating a narcissist. I'm being gaslit. All these terms that people don't understand what they mean. And here's the reason why I bring this up, specifically in the conversation of like, say, Amber Heard or the conversation with like, say, Lindsay Hill. These are women who falsely accused men of abusing them and falsely accused men of like physical violence against them. It turned out that these women were lying. And the problem is I work with domestic abuse shelters. And when women who actually need help They're being put to the back of the line by women who are lying and saying things like, I'm being gaslit, abused, I'm being like all this kind of stuff. And that's why I have an issue with it. Like, we need to know what these words mean. If your man has set a boundary for you and that makes you upset, that doesn't mean he gaslit you. If he tells you from the day one, I am not interested in a committed relationship, and then later on you're like, that guy's a fucking narcissist because he didn't give me what I wanted. He's not a narcissist. He told you what he wanted. Yeah. He set a masculine boundary and you chose not to adhere to it. And I have personally gone through this more than 4 times where I told a girl from the jump, we're not going to be together. And in her mind, she's like, yeah, I'm just going to wear him down. And I'm like, no, you're not going to wear me down. I've already made my decision. I'm more focused on my career and I don't want to be in a relationship right now. And when they do so, then they go and tell their friends after you break up, yeah, he was a narcissist.
That really gets me when people use that term, because I do have a degree in psychology, and there's no such thing as an empath. There's no scientific term as like a psychopath or a sociopath. Those are not real.
Yeah, so they're not diagnosed.
They're not diagnosed.
They're terms that mean something, but in a psychological
setting, they're not
antisocial personality disorder.
I mean, if there were this many narcissists, there's not this many narcissists.
Yes.
There's just not.
Fellas, if your girlfriend cheats on you, that doesn't mean she's a narcissist or a psychopath. No. It doesn't mean she has borderline personality disorder. She could, but it doesn't mean so. And ladies, ready? If your man cheats on you, it doesn't mean he's a narcissist either.
It means he needs to die. It means he's a man.
It just means he was kind of horny. That's what happened, right? Yeah. That's what happened. Anyway.
I think the basis of this conversation, though, with those original videos was like pop psychology and how we're using pop psychology terms to explain the people around us, or how maybe social media is influencing,
or possibly to take away blame from ourselves by calling by placing blame on someone else by using a word I heard on YouTube.
Empath, gaslighting, narcissist, using those terms almost in I mean, it's been talked about before. I have a psychology minor. It's nothing for yours, but using weaponizing these terms against people just to villainize people that either we believe have done us wrong, or maybe we don't have to hold ourselves accountable. And I would just say, like, if you're going to TikTok or Instagram and you're resonating with some of those TikToks and Instagrams that are talking about narcissists or talking about psychopaths and things like that, maybe you should go talk to a professional.
Yeah.
Especially TikTok.
Especially TikTok. My favorite part was at the end. It's like, have you gone to therapy? He's like, no, that's a boundary for me. I'm not going to therapy. I thought that was really
cool. I also just don't think it's fair. Like, it dilutes the meaning of the word. You know what I mean? For like the victims who have actually experienced and stuff. Like, it's kind of like the boy who cried wolf, So
like Amber Heard doesn't hurt me. Amber Heard hurts women who actually have been abused.
Oh, 100%. Well, and there was a big debate around like Jonah Hill and saying that what he was saying was weaponizing these therapeutic terms, to hurt his ex-girlfriend, I guess. But what do you guys think about that?
No.
Oh, he set like very clear boundaries. Listen, and he did not do anything wrong.
Here's what other guys would have said.
No,
stop
at all.
Here's what other guys would have said. The other guys would have said, stop dressing like a slut and stop hanging out with your friends who are sluts and stop hanging out with dudes who are trying to fuck you. That's what other guys would have said. What he said instead was, if you need to hang around people like that, I totally understand and support you. But that's probably not good for us as a relationship. And then he broke up with her. And then right after he has a baby with another woman, then his girlfriend magically releases these screenshots. Okay. There's no Jonah Hill. I'll say this before, and I will down this hill. Jonah Hill, so to speak. Jonah Hill did nothing wrong except pick the wrong girl to date. He did nothing wrong. He straight up told that girl, he said he several times, he does not cuss at her. He gives her the option. I'm sure couples have come up to you, probably try to have a threesome. They can ask, just as long as you have the right to say no. It's fine. If people come up to you and they hit on you, they can come up and hit on you, just as long as you have a right to say no. If your man says, I want you to wear a burqa when you go outside, you're like, that's really funny, honey. And you have the right to say no, as long as we have the right to say no. Because the idea that if what Jonah Hill did was misogynistic, every single Muslim man on this planet is misogynist. Do you understand? Every single one of them, because they wouldn't want their wives hanging out with men trying to them and dressing like that either. But my girlfriend is a fucking world-class bikini model, and I don't give a shit if she dresses like that. I have a different standard. And if it wasn't that standard, I have the right to leave and she has the right to leave, and we don't do that. That's essentially what happens. As long as you have the right to leave, which Jonah Hill gave his girlfriend, which is why I'm saying he did nothing wrong.
I think the disconnect, like, I agree with you that people should be able to communicate what they want in a relationship, but then give the other partner the option to say, like, yes, I'm down for this, or no, I'm not down for this. I think the part, like, at least that pissed me off within that situation was, like, they met and he liked who she was when they met. I think that was the part where like I had an issue with it, where it's like, okay, now all of a sudden it's an issue.
But Jessica,
wait,
he didn't bring up the text messages.
But like you were saying, like he chose to date the wrong person.
Yes.
I think that if you don't want to date an OnlyFans girl, don't fucking date an OnlyFans girl. I'm an OnlyFans girl. That's perfectly fine. If you don't like that, that's perfectly fine. You are allowed to have your preference, but don't try to date me and then after we started dating, be like, I don't want you to do it anymore. Like that's not fair.
But it doesn't seem like she had a problem with that until he was with another woman.
Well, then her then. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you know what I mean?
Only time she
pointed
out.
No one ever talks about the fact that these screenshots came out the day after he has a baby with another woman.
Yeah, I also don't agree with people talking shit about their exes.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
In my
opinion, Voldemort and Sauron. I want to say thank you guys. I wish you nothing but the best, Voldemort.
In my opinion, it makes you look fucking stupid. Like if you're gonna go around like say if I'm like, oh my god, girl, he did this to me. He punched me in the face, and then I stayed, and then he cheated on me, and then I stayed. Like you're making yourself look like a fucking idiot.
Oh yeah,
take your loss and go somewhere else. Like, and that's like, and I'm not even gonna say that I'm perfect. That's something that I had to learn for myself and be honest about that with myself, because of course, like when I was young and like super immature, I'm still young, but like when I was really immature about stuff, I used to just like want to tell everybody my side of the story to try to get my feelings validated, but it ends up doing way more damage than it does good.
Beautiful.